Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with an all new weekly art challenge review video. If you guys are new to the channel, want to possibly see your art featured in one of these upcoming videos, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll tell you how. Last week's word was favorite game character. It could have been video game, board game, or card game, so let's see what you guys came up with. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into the video, see what you guys came up with for games this week. And first up is Bartos, who went with Skyrim, and this one is a great example of a traditional art piece. Bartos posted in the Facebook group about using a colored marker set for this, and I think it's really cool. You can see just these really interesting textures that you can get from colored markers and kind of swapping colors and going with a mixing technique of a darker color on top of a lighter color. And I think the overall design works really well. Of course, Skyrim, if you're not familiar, kind of a more serious game as far as graphics wise, you know, more realistic. So I love the choice of going with this kind of goofy cartoon version. A lot of people looking at Skyrim fan art would not expect, you know, something like this coming from the world of Skyrim fan art. So I think that was a really cool and fun design choice by going with this kind of cartoon character. So kudos on that one. And of course, we've got the lettering here, the Fus Ro Dah, the dragon shout coming around. And I'm always a big fan of hand lettering, and I think Bartos did a really good job on this. I like how it goes, you know, from small to large over here as the shout kind of comes out. And then, of course, just that nice path that the hand lettering takes with that curve is really cool. As far as colors go, I love, you know, the fact that you went with different greens here, so everything's not the exact green. And even here going with the blue bush that then ties the background into there where it hits there. And then same thing here, it goes from a dark to a light to a dark here and ties all those colors in and around. I think that is a really, really cool way to approach that. So fantastic job, Bartos. Thanks so much for sharing that one this week. Next up is Janet, and Janet went with Clue. Like I said in the challenge and the video and on the Facebook post, you know, this isn't just video games. I know people don't always play video games, so it could be board games or anything else, and definitely a cool choice going with Miss Scarlet from Clue. And I think Jeanette really kind of nailed the atmosphere and the aesthetic of Clue. It kind of has that thriller, suspense, noir look to it, which really ties in well with the theme of the game. The thing that stands out here, really love the light that the candle gives off here, which then ties into these really heavy shadows here that frame her face, her neck, and the shoulders coming off here. I think that is really, really well done. The one thing you might have done here is because the light from the candle is so close, it's giving off, you know, such light that is creating these heavy shadows back here, is possibly going and hitting along the brim here of the hat with a highlight, and then also, you know, down along the fingers here and the cigarette, maybe giving a highlight there. And then possibly, I think there's a plume of smoke here. I would almost made that a little bit lighter so you could see it a little bit more. But I think those highlights would have kind of given off the illusion even more so that this candle is giving off that striking light that's causing those shadows, which we'll get into more in the next one with the highlights. But a really good job, Jeanette, and love seeing your choice this week for that one. Next up is Clayton, and Clayton went with Earthworm Jim, and this is what I'm talking about with the highlights. Of course, with this, Earthworm Jim has a ray gun blaster, so the previous one, Miss Scarlet's not going to have this much highlight from, you know, a candle off to the side, but this does kind of show you how you can use highlights effectively. This one, of course, is blown out just because of this being a ray gun. But I think it's cool because you can almost feel kind of the power, the heat, and the electricity coming off this gun just with these bright yellow highlights that frame not only his face, but, you know, the back here and along the body, and the way that everything pops, I think gives the design just a lot of energy and a lot of warmth coming off of this. I think it's a really, really good design choice. So wanted to kind of highlight that one, no pun intended, but fantastic job, Clayton, and a good choice too, because I love Earthworm Jim, such a great game. Next on up is Kylie, and Kylie went with a Moogle from Final Fantasy, and this one's super cute. I love the way that you kind of blended this pink into the white, the way that it kind of fades up here into this belly, and then along the arms and the head has kind of got that soft, kind of subtle touch to it that I think kind of lends well to the character itself. Same thing here with going kind of with a lighter yellow moon here in the back, and then the balloon and the kite here. The thing I love about this, I think it makes it stand out the most, is kind of the composition of this. So instead of having the Moogle dead set right here in the center, it's really kind of heavily focused here on the left hand side and is weighted here towards the left. So the main character is shifted over more here to this side, but it's balanced out so well just by using this string that comes up. As you can see, I mean, the string is almost non-existent. It's super thin, but it's still there, and it really helps to kind of balance out the design. And I think it works really, really well having that shifted to the left. It makes the design a little bit more interesting. So fantastic job there, Kylie. Like seeing that one this week. Next one up is Luca, and same thing here. Luca went with a mage from World of Warcraft, and you can see the main character is definitely shifted here to the left, so it's heavily weighted over here, but the way that Luca did the rectangle here, and then also the ice ball or fireball here, I'm saying ice ball because of the snowflakes, it really works to kind of balance out the design. So you've got a really more interesting design than if you just had the main character sitting straight in the middle of the canvas. And once again, a traditional piece. So I always love seeing those. And let's get to the character itself. The character design is really well done. I think it's super cute and has a really kind of cool look to it. Definitely a really good job on using line weights throughout the design. You can see around the outside, you've got a really kind of heavy line weight, and then towards the inside, you can see the line weights are a lot thinner. This is where a lot of people, just do heavy throughout, or let's say they'll do the hand heavy. And you see here, just because this hand and the fingers here on the outside, those are heavy, but as this thumb then overlaps the body, this is a thin line here. So a really good job on the line weights for kind of outlining the character. And I think it works well with the design aesthetics that you chose for the character itself. And I like using the blue and the brown here for the eyes. So you've got a little bit of color in there. It's not too much. It's not, not using any color at all. So it's kind of a nice balance between the two. And it does add a little bit more pop to it than if it was just a plain black and white. So really cool job this week, Luca. Thanks for submitting that one. Next up is Craig, and Craig went with Mirror's Edge, and we got Faith leaping off the side of a building here doing one of her famous parkour tricks. And this one really stands out just because of the perspective here. I love the way these buildings go up here towards the top of the page, and you've got a really nice perspective where, as a viewer, kind of looking from the bottom up. So we've got a view of looking up towards Faith jumping off these buildings, and we're sitting below her, and I think the perspective on this kind of is what makes this design. Of course, this one too also kind of heavily focused on this left hand side, which is nice rather than having everything centered. Faith is shifted over here, but the way that the buildings are and those being kind of centered in the page definitely balance everything out, but just having her shifted here to the left really kind of makes a more interesting design. And if you guys aren't familiar with Mirror's Edge, it was definitely a kind of minimalist game, and I think Craig really knocked that out of the park here. It's got that nice minimalist look to it, has kind of almost a pop art look, and the color choices really reflect that and reflect the kind of theme and the overall tone of the game. So great job, Craig. Last but not least this week is Matthew, and Matthew went with Metroid, and we've got Samus here right in the center. And I think this one really works just because, once again, it's in the center, but the way that the Metroids here in the back come around kind of frame the main character, and that is really cool. And I love the choice of kind of blurring out these as they go back, so you really create a really nice depth of field. Of course, this Metroid here is going to be the closest to the viewer. This one's going to be a little bit further in the background just because it's a little bit more blurred. And this one you have more of a blur to, which means that it's further away from the viewer. So great job in establishing that depth of field. Really makes it look three-dimensional and gives the overall design some weight. And the main character, Samus herself here in the center, the thing that really works with this, and you did a great job, was really making the suit believable. So suit's going to be, an armor, and having that look like metal and having that glow and that shine and a believable metal material is sometimes hard to do, and people struggle with it. And I think you did a great job with that, just the way that you blended the colors. You've got the highlights in certain areas, and then You know, in other areas like here, you almost have like a lens flare highlight, which is cool, and the way that this is blended up here too. I've almost got like the airbrush look here, which really gives off that believable metal look. So fantastic job. Looks super, super crisp, super professional. One thing with this that I probably would have liked to see, and I know this is kind of a double-edged sword, when you make something so awesome, the background is kind of non-existent, but there is an attempt at somewhat of a background. So when you make something awesome like this, just having the background seem like an afterthought kind of hurts the design here. And I'm not saying you've got to go super crazy with, you know, doing a background or anything like that. Maybe just adding in, let's see, if we go to luminance, glimmer, honestly, just adding in some like star shine stuff kind of around, you know, something like that to make it pop, look a little bit more finished. And then deciding, you know, this area down here, this circle, is this maybe a planet or something that she's standing on? And you could even, you know, just kind of add like a glow around the edge of it to kind of give that extra three-dimensional depth to it, like you did with the rest here. Let's see if we can get to just an airbrush. I don't know how well this is going to work, but, you know, just kind of, we got that really thin. Just kind of building up, you know, a glow around there, and just something else to kind of make it pop, and then maybe fleshing this out a little bit. But honestly, I think just the stars themselves kind of make it look a little bit more completed. So just a fantastic job. Like I said, super professional looking, and really, really love seeing this one. Also, one of my favorite games growing up, so great choice on that one, Matthew. And those were the designs for this week based on game. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you like today's video too, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. So if you're new to the channel and don't know how this works, basically every Wednesday I post one of these videos kind of highlighting some of the designs from the word given the previous week. And then at the end of the video, I give you that week's word. So you've got from Wednesday till the following Tuesday to post your designs online. Over on Facebook, there's a group that I made over there called Keep Creating, a Learn, Draw, Share Art Community, which I will link in the description below. If you don't have Facebook, you can post them on Instagram or Twitter and tag me, or you can email them to me at my website, which I'll give you all that at the end. And then I pick a handful of those and do that week's video on the following Wednesday. So if you want to take part, now's your chance. Last week's word was favorite game character, and I thought with, you know, the holiday season getting in full swing, what is your favorite Christmas movie? So here's your chance to show your holiday spirit by sharing a design based on your favorite Christmas movie. What's my favorite Christmas movie? Thanks for asking. So my favorite Christmas movie might be a little bit divisive, kind of like, you know, claiming Die Hard's a Christmas movie, but my favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins, the #1 all-time favorite Christmas movie. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie, fight me in the comments. It's cool. But that's my favorite one. Short runner-up is Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. If you guys have not seen that, definitely check that out. I love that movie so much as well. It's a little bit more traditional as far as Christmas movies go. But let's see what you guys got. And then also, if you're looking to get better at art, the best way to do that is to practice every day. If one challenge a week isn't enough for you and you want something every day, I made a sketchbook just for that. It's called 365 Days of Drawing Prompts, a Keep Creating Sketchbook. And it's got 365 days of drawing ideas for you to draw. This is available on Amazon, makes a great Christmas gift as well. So I will link that in the description below. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.